Good afternoon and welcome to another weekly review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and today we're going to go ahead and take a look here in preparation for the week ahead in trading. We're going to take a look at the markets probably from a little slightly different time frame, just to get again some additional context from a higher time frame on the general direction of all these various markets. So, but before we get started, we'll need to again kind of review our obligatory risk disclosure here, guys. I want to remind everyone, okay, that the content that's being published and distributed here is to be used as general information only. None of the information provided or contained herein is intended as investment advice, an offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any future security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk, is not for every investor. An investor could lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through our risk disclosure, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the charting platform, okay? And we're going to go ahead and start off with the gold market here. So we'll go ahead and display that here in a moment. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and modify this. So here we are. Okay, so we have a chart of the gold up on the screen here. And you can see here, we're going to take a look at the monthly chart just to get a sense of what general direction the market is headed. Okay, and you can see here the general direction remains higher. Okay, there's a little bit of participation here on both ends of the market here at this point. But we had a very strong candle that closed out this past month, and we've opened the candle with yet another bullish candle, probably not to the same level or strength at this point as the prior month, but nonetheless a candle that it still is indicating that there's still some further upside opportunity in this market. Moving down to the daily chart here, not daily, but the weekly chart. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what the weekly chart is telling us. Again, you can see that we have our series of bullish candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, actually 7 straight candles that have been bullish, 7 straight weeks of bullish price action. And you can see here that while the market is closed the week here, it closed the week with quite a bit of volume here to the bullish side. Okay, looking to the right here, just to get a general sense of where we are with respect to value. Well, you can see that we're above the value range, indicating that there's still a fair amount of interest here to the upside in this market. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the daily. Looking at the daily, we're just going to kind of zoom in on these candles here, kind of zoom in week by week. And you can see here that we continue to staircase our way, okay, higher, right? Price remains above our 9 EMA, kind of serving as kind of a sentiment indicator for the general market. We're going to go ahead and take a look at over the course of the week here. We're going to take a look. This is Friday's close, so we're going to kind of move this back here to the prior Friday here, okay, and get a sense for what price action was able to do. So you can see here that we remained in range for the week. All right, we made a couple of attempts on actually both directions to move outside of this range. In either case, both failed. We made an attempt here to go lower. That was met up by some buyers. Made a second attempt here to go lower, again met by buyers. And we closed the week on the upper end of the value range from Friday. Okay, we're up at the value area high here at the visible range volume profile that we have here on the right. Again, indicating that there's still a fair amount of interest here to the upside in this market. So I would say that headed into the week that I'm still looking for maybe some continued price action, bullish price action, um, higher in this in the gold market. All right, so let's go ahead now and move on to the crude oil market. Crude oil market. We'll start off with the daily, actually the monthly. Okay, monthly chart, and then kind of move our way down. All right, so you can see that we remain in some bearish structure in this market. Market has not given us any indication here. Actually, given us a few indications, maybe that they've maybe found some buyers at these levels, but we remain in bearish structure here. Okay, you can see that we continue to make lower lows on these monthly charts. We closed September bearish. We closed August with the bearish engulfing candle, and we have this level here around the 57 level that is that we're rapidly approaching a second time. Okay, so let's take a look here at the weekly chart. So looking at the weekly chart, again, we closed the week with yet another bearish candle. Not quite of the bearish engulfing variety, but certainly created a new low for the week. All right, we were kind of in range here for a couple of weeks there, and now we managed to close the week with a bearish candle below this levels. Okay, so kind of giving us an indication here that there's still maybe some opportunity here that will maybe we're going to test once again this 57 level. Okay, and that maybe we have the potential of testing some lower levels. Okay, so we have 57 as a level, and then opens up to yeah, 57, and then back down to 40 is kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, so let's take a look now. So in the weekly chart, very much aligned with the monthly. Market still continues to show signs of weakness to in the market. Okay, so again, continued view is to continue to look for opportunities to the downside. All right, let's take a look at the kind of zoom in on this weekly candle here. Really, again, throughout the week here, we had Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Okay, the only candle that even was remotely bullish was Friday. Okay, so we had 4 of the 5 days last week were bearish candles, and in the process, we broke below. Okay, we broke below some areas here of support. We're actually going to mark that as now potential resistance zone area here. Okay, around 61. Let's call it 61 or 62. Anywhere in this range. The expectation now that we've broken below that what was support will now serve as some level of resistance, and that we potentially can get a continuation move here to the downside in this market. Okay, 57 seems to be the next logical target for this market. Maybe as low as 56 seems to be well within range for this current price action that we're currently seeing in this market. All right, so we're going to go ahead in similar fashion here. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile over the course of the week here and see what kind of back down to Friday here and see. Okay, so you see that we did indeed peak below. All right, we did peak below this range to the downside. We actually closed below and managed to close with a rather not the strongest of candles, but nonetheless managed to close back inside of value. Okay, so again, still very much in bearish structure here to the downside. We have our 9 EMA here that's kind of serving as a guide here for our view. We're going to actually open up our anchored VWAP here just to get a sense of where prices here below. You can another indication here below. You can see that anchor VWAP on the most recent pivot that we had here. Again, we tried to make an attempt to go higher, only to find sellers in this market. Okay, so I would say that headed into the week, we are obviously at an area here around 61 that maybe could produce maybe some opportunities, at least up to the anchored VWAP here, maybe up to the 9 EMA, back up to the maybe 62, 63 level as maybe a kind of a bounce. All right. But unless we can get above or start to create some structure to indicate that maybe the market is indeed maybe looking to reverse, we are going to continue to look for opportunities where we can opportunities to the bearish side in this market. All right, so headed into the week, I would say that we need to continue to look for some bearish opportunities. Certainly, we don't necessarily need to sell the lows here, but I would say that we should be looking to participate in this market on any signs of strength here, especially if we remain below either the 9 EMA or the anchor VWAP that I've drawn here. All right, right around the 63 level seems to be a logical level here for maybe price to maybe come up to and then continue to the downside. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for the crude oil market. Let's go ahead and move into the equity markets. Again, we'll start off with the monthly chart here, okay, and take a look and see what the market monthly chart is telling us here, okay. So again, we closed out the month relatively strong, okay. Kind of maybe some forecasts. We'll go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. You can see that we closed this past month relatively strong. We opened the month of October with a bullish candle, a little bit in the way of maybe two-sided trading at this point. So certainly the 25,000 level continues to be a level that is showing that it's particular challenge to remain above here. Okay, so monthly chart, while bullish, is indeed showing some signs of maybe some additional participation here from the bears. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Kind of zoom in on this a little bit. Weekly chart closed the week with yet again a bullish engulfing candle, indicating that there's still a fair amount of interest here to the upside. We had a little bit of an indecision candle here, and that indecision on the very next week was met with some additional buying. Price remains above our 9 EMA, again, giving us indications that the market sentiment in the NASDAQ remains bullish. Let's take a look now at the daily chart. So looking at the daily chart, you can see that our visible range volume profile, you can see that price remains above that area here, okay? So indicating that folks are willing to pay somewhat of a premium to participate in this market to the upside. We are maybe seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the advance here on the daily chart. You can see while we wasn't quite a bearish engulfing candle, we did have a new low. We did close below the range here from the prior day on this market. So we're going to go ahead now and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. I suspect that we're probably in range here, but we'll just confirm this. Where the fixed range volume profile, we'll take a look and see where this range kind of ended up for the week. Okay, and you can see that we actually closed above it, right? We closed above it. We closed above this range, and then it was met with sellers. So I don't know if this is maybe the beginnings of maybe a little bit of a failed auction here to the upside, and that we have maybe the potential of rotating all the way back to say 24,700 before we see any sort of continued rally in this market. Okay, so I think having this bearish engulfing or relatively close to being a bearish engulfing candle, that there is maybe an opportunity that we can get maybe a similar pullback that we got here in this series of candles here on the tail end of September here, that we could also get maybe yet another kind of series of candles as well. Okay, over the next few days, maybe a little bit of a pullback, maybe back down to this 24,600 level before we see any sort of continued advancement or continued rally in this market. Okay, so while I am, I guess the market continues to show signs of bullish behavior, I have to maybe potentially consider that over the next few days that we could potentially pull back here over the next few days before we continue any sort of bullish price action. So I guess I'm my short-term thinking here is that over the next few days, maybe we should be looking for some very bearish opportunities, maybe a little bit of a pullback back down to these levels, and then right around this 24,000, say 600 or maybe 700 level, maybe we start looking at maybe a continuation move here to the upside. So start of the week, I would say that I'm looking at maybe a little bit more bearish than normal in this in the Nasdaq, and looking maybe for maybe a slight little pullback here before we continue our advancement here to the upside. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the ES here. Again, similar, we're going to go ahead and start off with the monthly chart here. Looking at the monthly chart, you can see we closed again September rather strong. October is showing signs of some bullish price action. Not the strongest of bullish, since we are getting wicks on both ends of the candle, indicating that maybe we're getting some balanced price action on both sides of the market here. Moving down to the weekly chart. So taking a look at the weekly, you can see here that we closed the week with a rather strong bullish candle to the upside. We remain above, similar to the NASDAQ, remain above the 9 EMA. Unlike the NASDAQ, it looks like we are kind of maybe inside some sort of a range price action. Maybe kind of move this over here to the left here a little bit and see if that changes here. But yeah, so again, this 6290, 6300 level does appear to be a supportive level here on the weekly chart. I know that's 400 some odd points away, but I would expect that 6,300 level that should it come to that will look to be an area of support. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the daily chart. We'll take a look at the daily chart and see. So unlike the NASDAQ, we did get a little bit of a reverse hammer pattern here. In some indication that we have maybe some sellers that are around the 6,800 level, which is one of these psychological levels as well. Nice whole number. So does give us some indication here that maybe we could, similar to what I had mentioned in the NASDAQ, that we could pull back, say, to the 6,700 level here before we see any sort of continued advancement above or higher or above 6,800. Okay. So similar to my view, let's actually look at one last thing before I make my kind of final summary of my view of this market here. Let's go ahead and do our fixed range volume profile. We'll go ahead and drag this across here so you can see that we did make an attempt here to get higher. Unlike the NASDAQ, we never managed to close above this level before we found some sellers. We kind of wicked our way outside this range and we closed back inside this range. So some indication that maybe there was some level of rejection here up at the highs, and that maybe price can give us maybe an opportunity where price can continue down to this point of control here to this visible range volume profile. Okay, so I would say that maybe the first part of the market here over the next few days, my expectation is that we'll maybe continue in some sort of range kind of price action where price maybe comes back to the 6,700 level, and then before we see any sort of leg higher in this market. So short term, I would say that maybe the market is looking a bit on the bearish side. I'm looking for maybe some opportunities on the bearish side, with the understanding that I might be in some sort of range kind of price action. Okay, let's take a look finally at the Dow. We'll take a look at the Dow here and see where we're at with the Dow. We'll take a look at the monthly chart to start with and see what the monthly chart, again, I would say that maybe it's even showing a little bit more strength than either of the other equity markets. We are seeing that we are receiving, wicks on both ends of the candle, but the candle body, at least for now, seems to be a bit stronger than what we saw in either the NASDAQ or the ES. Okay. So again, similar to those other markets, the market does appear to be in some sort of bullish kind of price structure. Okay, we're making higher highs and higher lows. We've broken some structure here to the upside above 45,000, say 45,100. Okay, does appear to be an area that was prior resistant. Well, we broke that area with this monthly candle here back in August. We closed the market again September, also bullish. And we're starting October with yet another bullish candle here. Okay, so monthly chart still indicating that there's still a fair amount of interest in this market to the upside. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily here and not the daily, sorry, the weekly chart. Okay, weekly chart also indicating similar to what we were seeing. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 weeks worth of 3 of the 4 weeks have been to the upside. Okay, 1, 2, kind of a neutral candle for the tail end of the month. And then again, we started the month of October with potentially some renewed interest in the market to the upside. You can see for this month, we got approximately 84,000 more buy orders than sell orders currently at these levels. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily. Looking at the daily, unlike these other candles, while we are seeing maybe a little bit in the way of some weakness here, not the same level of weakness that we saw maybe in these other markets. I believe, if not mistaken, there was a developing or actually closed the week with a kind of a bearish candle here on the Nasdaq, and then the ES closed with a reverse candle, much like this one here. Although we are seeing maybe there is a little bit of interest here on the sell side, we still managed to close the day here with a bullish candle that has broken the closes of some of these areas here. Okay, so indicating that maybe there is maybe a little bit more strength in the Dow, and then maybe some of these other equity markets here. We'll take a look here at the fixed range volume profile here, just to kind of get a sense on what kind of progress we made here from a value range. And you can see here we have a very definitive close above value. Okay, if you recall, looking at these other markets, these other equity markets, we had Nasdaq had closed above, but then closed back inside the area of value, and ES never actually managed to close above the area of value. Okay, so this is kind of giving us an indication here that there's still there is a fair amount of strength here to the upside in the Dow market, and I would say that maybe the Dow is maybe a little bit stronger to the upside, or the momentum to the upside is a bit stronger in the Dow than maybe some of these other equity markets here. Okay, so headed into the week, I would say that I would be looking potentially maybe for some continued opportunities here to the upside in this market. I have this 46,000, let's say 750 level. That was maybe a prior area of resistance, as now is going to be supportive. Okay, this area right here is going to be an area that I'm going to be paying attention to and seeing if this offers me another opportunity. We have the value area high range right around this 46,825 level. Again, expectation again is that this area is going to indeed serve as some area of support, maybe for some continued price action to the upside. All right, so those are a couple of areas that I'm going to be looking for, maybe to participate in this market to the upside. And you can see here that the volume delta bar seems to be aligned with this general direction of maybe some further upside opportunities in this market. All right, so let's take one final pass across all these markets using the daily chart just to kind of summarize. Again, gold again continues to show signs of strength here to the upside. We managed to close the week. We had a relatively strong candle here to the downside, but really we're able to sustain this this move here. Still a fair amount of interest here to the upside. We had closed the week with a bullish candle, and we are kind of again continuing to challenge the highs here. So again, I'm going to be looking for some opportunities where I can maybe could offer me maybe some opportunities for continued upside. I would say that 3,900 seems to be a logical level. 3,900 is a not only psychological, but it's also a area where we've indicated that maybe we've had a little bit of a consolidation area here that could offer us maybe a location, assuming that we can hold that level, that this could offer us maybe an opportunity for further upside move. Okay. Otherwise, there's obviously the possibility, right? We have the point of control a ways away down below, right? But that's well below the market. I would say that maybe the value area low here around 38.45, and that's also around this around the value area low, as well as the 9 EMA could offer us maybe a confluence of locations that could offer us a location for a continued move. So Again, headed into the week, I would say that I remain bullish on the gold market, and I think really I'm going to be looking for some opportunities or price reference levels where I can better manage my risk. We've already identified a couple of them. 3,900 and 3,850 seem to be logical areas where we could potentially look to participate in this market to the upside. All right. Looking at the crude oil market, again, a market continues to show weakness here. Again, I would say that we need to continue to look to potentially sell some strength here. So I would say, again, this 9 EMA here, right around the 62.40 level, could offer us maybe a location, right, where we could maybe take an opportunity, a continuation trade to the downside. We have another location here around this value area low, around the 62 level, that could also offer us another location for continuation opportunity to the downside. But headed into the market, I would say that until proven otherwise, that we should continue to look for some downside opportunities in this market. All right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the NASDAQ. Looking at the NASDAQ, again, market is, again, above some of these levels that we care about from a bullish side. I see that, the fact that we were able to break, but not continue, it might be an indication that we might be in for maybe a short-term kind of pullback here to maybe continue in maybe the beginnings of some range here back down to say this, let's say 24,660 level. Okay. Maybe as low as 24,600. But I do feel that maybe over the next few days, we might get a little bit of a pullback into this market. Okay. And at that point, maybe we see maybe a little bit of a continuation move to the upside once that's taken place here. Okay. So headed into the session, at least for the early part of the week, I would say that we should maybe look for some opportunities where we get a slight pullback in the market, and that could offer us maybe a logical location where we maybe can participate. But I do see that the market maybe is in the beginnings of some sort of range kind of price action, and that we have to kind of maybe focus on the edges of these markets. 25,000 obviously continuing to be an area of some interest, or area of having some difficulty holding. So 25,000 to the upside and is an area of resistance, and then I don't know, 24,500 seems to be an area of some support. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ES. Okay, ES kind of giving us kind of a similar, but probably not as strong. We are seeing a little bit of a reversal candle up against the value area high range over the course of the week, over this weekly profile that we generated here. So again, I would say that it would not be out of the realm of possibilities here that we see price kind of retrace here, a little back down to 6,700, and maybe at that point we continue in this kind of range kind of price action. Again, 6,800 does seem to be an area, at least initially, that's kind of giving us an indication that it is a level of some resistance in this market. And until it gets broken, I would say that we need to continue to play it as resistance. Okay. So headed into the session, I would say in the short term, I would say that maybe we are in for maybe a little bit of a pullback in this market. I would say that anywhere in the 6,700 to 6,710 range could be a spot where we maybe could pick an area, assuming that we get some price action that would indicate such that maybe we get a continuation move at that point. All right. And then the last market here, the Dow, is I would say probably the strongest of the three equity markets. You can see that we closed the week and the volume delta bar is very much aligned with the general direction. The only cause of concern here is that we have a little bit of a selling wick. It's not necessarily the strongest of bullish candles here, but nonetheless, we did manage to close above this area of value, right? Which basically indicates that folks are willing to pay a little bit of a premium to be part of this market. Again, similar to the NASDAQ and the ES, I'm going to be focusing in my attention on maybe a price level where I can better manage my risk and look maybe for an opportunity to the upside. I see the logical level here is probably 46,000. Let's see, maybe raise this here up a little bit. Maybe 46,750 seems to be that level in the Dow. Maybe that would be a logical location to participate in an upside move in this market. Should it break that level, then I would say the next logical level to maybe look for a continuation trade probably is around this 46,500 level in the Dow. Okay. So with that said, just to kind of summarize, gold continues to show signs of strength headed into the week. Crude oil remains, I would say, bearish. And then I would say that maybe across the equities, we're seeing a little bit of weakness. I would say a little bit more weakness in the NASDAQ than, say, the ES. So probably NASDAQ, ES, and the Dow in sort of reverse order as far as weakness goes. And again, probably looking maybe at the first part of the week here to look maybe for some locations a little bit lower, a little bit of a retracement back lower to see if it offers us maybe another leg to the upside. So we'll go ahead and, with that and close this weekly session like we close other sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader.